Joel had never imagined himself starting over at 42. He had once believed in love, in the idea of forever, but his marriage had ended in heartbreak. His wife of 10 years had chosen another path, leaving him with a shattered heart and a custody schedule for their 9-year-old son, Ethan. The divorce had been messy, filled with arguments and regrets, and when the papers were finally signed, Joel felt not relief but emptiness. For 4 years, he remained guarded. Friends encouraged him to date, but he couldn't bring himself to open his heart again. He threw himself into work as a financial analyst, spent weekends with Ethan, and found solace in evening walks by the lake near his Oregon home. He convinced himself that love was a risk he wasn't willing to take again. But fate had other plans. One evening, Joel reluctantly agreed to attend a charity event hosted by an old college friend. It wasn't his scene, but he forced himself to go, knowing he couldn't spend every night alone. As he stood by the bar, nursing a whiskey, his gaze landed on a woman across the room. She wasn't the most glamorous woman there, but something about her intrigued him. Her kind eyes, the warmth in her smile, the way she seemed genuinely engaged in the conversation she was having. Her name was Ava. She was a teacher, passionate about literature and helping underprivileged children find their voices through storytelling. When they were introduced, their conversation flowed effortlessly. After their initial meeting, Joel couldn't stop thinking about Ava. A few days later, he mustered the courage to ask her out. They met at a small cafe by the lake for breakfast. "I hope you like coffee as much as you claimed," Joel teased as he pulled out a chair for her. "I practically survive on it." Ava laughed, taking a sip from her cup. They spent hours talking about their lives, their past, and their hopes for the future. Ava's openness made Joel feel safe in a way he hadn't felt in years. As their relationship grew, so did their adventures. They took spontaneous road trips along the coast, hiked the mountains of Oregon, and explored small towns, savoring local delicacies. Ava had a way of making everything fun, whether it was an unplanned detour or a simple picnic in the park. One weekend, they visited a vineyard in California. As they walked between the rows of grapevines, Ava playfully spun around. "You need to learn to have fun, Joel," she teased, grabbing his hand and pulling him into a dance. Joel laughed, feeling lighter than he had in years. Meeting Ethan was a big step. Joel was nervous, but Ava handled it with grace. She didn't try to replace his mother, but instead formed her own unique bond with him. They played board games, read books together, and slowly, Ethan began looking forward to her visits. Ava also introduced Joel to her family, who welcomed him warmly. Her parents saw the love in his eyes and knew he was different from anyone Ava had been with before. 2 years after they met, on a crisp autumn morning, Joel took Ava back to the lake, the place where he had once walked alone in loneliness and doubt. As the leaves rustled around them, he knelt down and took her hand. "You showed me that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real," he said, voice thick with emotion. "You've been my light in the dark. Ava, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Their wedding was small, intimate, filled with laughter and love. Ethan, now 11, stood beside his father as his best man. Joel had found his second chance at happiness. Not in a whirlwind romance, but in a love that was steady, faithful, and real. Joel's story wasn't about a perfect fairy tale. It was about resilience, about healing, and about the beauty of love that comes after storm. And as he stood beside Ava, hand in hand, he knew this time forever was real